Hello there YouTube, this is Chuck and I'm back, and those of you who've been following the channel know I had some issues with the gas gauge on my old truck after I replaced the fuel pump. The fuel pump and the gas gauge are all in integrated assembly, and the gas gauge wasn't accurate at all. Well, as you can see now, I put 101.9 miles on it since I filled it up with fuel, and you can see where the gas gauge is reading at. So I don't think that's very accurate, and I'm going to go ahead and fill it up and just see what changes on it or how much gas goes in it. Now that's only got an 18-gallon tank, and so that should be, well, half a tank would be 9, so that'd be about 10-11 gallon. So let's fill it up and see what happens, and I'll bring you a full report here in a second. Well, it took 11.9 gallons to fill it up, and that would actually make that gas gauge pretty accurate. So maybe I didn't have a problem after all that I thought I did, but I'll have to run it a little bit longer and double check that. But I figured by the estimate, I figured it'd take between 11 and 12 gallon, and it took 11.9, so that's pretty close. So maybe I was getting all upset on that gas gauge over nothing. We'll just have to run it for a while the way it is and see. But one thing I will say is with that new fuel pump, the thing's sure running a lot better. So let me, I'll be back with you again here in a little bit with a little bit more report on this thing. Well, it's actually a little later in the day, and Slapjack and I just went for our afternoon walk, and listen to this thing. It's running real good, and I'm kind of thinking maybe that this gas gauge situation might be within normal limits after all. I got all frustrated initially because it didn't act like the other one, and what it does is it seems to stay on full for a long time before it comes off of full, but once it starts dropping a little more rapidly. So I'm not going to say that there isn't an issue. Get over here out of the sun. I'm not going to say there isn't an issue, but I'm going to say that I'm cautiously optimistic that maybe this whole thing is going to be okay after all, and that makes me happy because I didn't relish the idea of having to pull that out and put another one in. Although I did it once, I'm sure I can do it again. So anyway, that's where we're at, and we just, let's say, just took Flap for his afternoon stroll around the park, and we're getting ready to go home, and I think the spousal unit's in the process of cooking dinner. But this is a big weekend, and but right now this is I think everybody kind of closed up a little early on Friday. It's Friday afternoon, and the back streets here are not real busy right now, and I'm gonna let this run and at least get down there where we can get a look at the highway coming through town and see how busy that is. So right now we're just headed down Main Street, and they got some big plans. They want to make this like an old west town and draw the tourists here, and I think that's all well and good if it works. And they throw a lot of money at this street for over the years. And right there's my old alma mater there, the old fire station I worked out of for all those years. And got the guy working on an ambulance there. It doesn't have any lettering on it, so I bet somebody's converting that to a motorhome, and that's pretty cool. I like that. So let's hold this just for a little bit longer, and let's see what the traffic looks like down here on the highway coming through town. Earlier it was backed up all the way through town. The only way you could get across it was to cross it at a signal light. But it looks like it's actually cleared out a bit now. What does it look like now? It doesn't look bad at all right now. You can still see some campers coming through. Anyway, I think I'll make that a wrap for now, and as I always tell you, take care of each other and love each other, and I'll string these together and see if I think it's worth posting. But the old truck's running like $1 million, and I'm happy with it. And still got a little bit, the whining here is actually, I think I've said before, it's the power steering pump, and that's kind of something that happens with these old Fords. and it seems to work okay. It doesn't, you know, power steering works fine. It just gets that whine noise, and a little aggravating. But you know, sometimes when you get a rebuilt one and replace it with a rebuilt one, they whine just as bad as the one you took off. So anyway, I think that's it for right now, and I'll be back with you again on another one here pretty quick, and we'll see what kind of mischief we can get into, and try to bring you something that's interesting. And so for right now, I'm just going to tell you, give you a look at old Flapper over there. He's a camera hog, and I'll tell you, peace out.